Boxing in school sounds insane, right? Like, who wants to hand kids gloves and have them start swinging? But there's one truth no one is talking about. Boxing doesn't create violence, it controls it. If schools actually taught boxing, we'd see fewer fights, less bullying, and way more confidence in students. So before you freak out, let me show you why boxing might be the most important class in school. We're going to be going over these 3 main points: safety, the violent stigma, and the actual cost for a student and the school. But before we get into that, let's just get into the history real quick. Believe it or not, boxing actually used to be in school, mainly in colleges. The first collegiate match was actually held in 1919 by University of Pennsylvania and Penn State. In 1932, the NCAA finally recognized boxing as a collegiate sport. And back then, boxing was a huge deal. The arenas were packed out. I'm not talking like a few hundred, not even 1,000. 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 arenas would be packed out to see collegiate boxing. And unfortunately, the tragic death of Charlie Moore marked the end of boxing in college. Now let's get into the key points. Safety. Everyone's concern about boxing is, oh, it's not safe for kids. There's too many concussions, and the sport is a high risk. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's the world's safest sport. It's not. But per the CDC, boys tackle football is ranked number 1 for the highest rate of concussions. 63% of concussions are caused by tackling itself. Like, what are we talking about? And then number 2 is girls soccer. And the only combat sport we have in school is wrestling, and that's ranked number 5. It's not even in the top 3. So the only combat sport we have in school is not even in the top 3 or number 1 or number 2. It's football, tackle football. I know other rebuttals will be like, oh, well, that's just for kids. Well, that's the main argument here. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's do all sports. You know what the number 1 sport is? MMA. Not even boxing. MMA has the highest rate of concussion of all organized sports, point blank period. To bring home the point, boxing is not the number 1 for concussion and head trauma. It's tackle football across the board. Now, let me explain a little bit about amateur boxing. Amateur boxing is 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. The gloves are 10 to 12 ounces, varying the weight class you're in, and headgear is always worn. Tank tops, shorts, groin guard as well, and scoring is strictly focused on punches landed accurately, not significant striking. For example, if I throw a 1-2-1-2 and they all land pretty clean, and you throw 1 hook and it kind of lands, or even it lands cleanly, that was your 1 point versus my 4. And then the ref inside the ring will give numerous 8 counts. If they feel the fighter is any sort of danger or possible injury or anything like that, they'll give a standing 8 and check with that fighter. And they even may waive it off entirely if it was just 1 good shot. If it looked like it rocked them a little too much, they can waive it off entirely. That happens a lot in amateurs. And if 3 8 counts are given in a single round, the ref will waive off the bout entirely. Refs can and will stop bouts at any time they please, especially the younger ages. The younger the age bracket, the less they're gonna let them get hurt. Go to any amateur tournament and see how they treat the 10-year-old. Also, if any significant bleedings occur, refs and doctors put their primary and sole focus on that fighter who's bleeding. They'll call a time, the doctor will come up to the ring, check it. If it's too much bleeding or too much damage, again, that doctor can also waive it off. Speaking of the doctors, they check every fighter before and after their bout. Key point number 2, the violent stigma. I don't get this one because it's like, oh my god, my kid's gonna fight everyone in school. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. There's already a combat sport in school. Wrestling, is that not a violent sport? And I'll make the argument, so I think football is a pretty violent sport itself, but you can masquerade it because there's a ball, there's padding, and there's stuff like that. You can kind of disguise it where it's not as violent as people think. But there's a straight violent sport in school. Wrestling. Their goal is to pin them, put them in certain ways, to pull on their joints and stuff. What are we talking about? Violent stigma. Football, I would even argue, is more violent than wrestling. It's simulating car crashes with human bodies. What are we talking about? And there's so many injuries in football. Way more than boxing. Way more. Knees, shoulders, ligament injuries, joint dislocations, bone fractures. There's so many, including concussions and head trauma. This whole violent stigma against boxing is the dumbest thing I've heard. Also, it's this argument of, oh, well, kids are going to fight even more now. What? First off, no. There are so many rules in place in pretty much all schools now. If you fight, you're done. Those kids who want to fight regardless are going to fight with or without boxing in school. Those are just emotionally immature children. Those kids who want to run a fade at 7:30 a.m. in the cafeteria before school even starts, they're going to do that with or without boxing. They have their own issues, and I pray for them. I wish them well, but that is not because of boxing. That's because of whatever they have going on in their personal life and their emotional immaturity, and they have to fight someone. That's their own personal problem. You know what they should do? Seek therapy. Go to church. And then this other argument I've been hearing is ego. Oh, kids are going to have these uber big egos. They can fight now. Every sport has ego. What are we talking about? Every single sport has ego. You think Michael Jordan didn't have an ego? You think Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, Larry Bird? Larry Bird was the biggest trash talker. Every sport has egos. All of these athletes in every sport have egos and are super competitive. Oh my, like that's the dumbest argument. Oh, there's ego, the ego. There's egos in every sport. Also, you have to have pretty good grades to stay in your sport, either football, wrestling, basketball, boxing. So kids are going to be a little more studious to make sure they stay in boxing. And then my third point, cost. You've seen throughout this video, my biggest rebuttal was towards football. So we're going to use that. Cones, tackle dummies, goalpost ladders, stuff like that. And these numbers are rough estimates. Helmeted pad would be $150 to $400. Again, varying brand, bulk discount, so on and so forth. The field. Majority of fields now are turf. So that's between $700,000 and $1.5 million. And then the uniforms, i.e. the jerseys, about $30 to $100. Again, varying bulk, design, discount, stuff like that. Like it does vary state to state and school to school. So the initial investment for a school between $700,000 and $1.5 million. Do you not hear that number? That is insane. Everything I listed wasn't just, oh, maybe. It's like I put the bare minimum on there. So now let's look at the boxing side for school. And also the numbers I'm using for boxing are from a wholesaler for ringside. So these are the most accurate numbers I'm able to provide you. Heavy bag. I did a 150-pound heavy bag. That's about $1,480. Speed bags. That's $120. And then 4 double-end bags / reflex bags, whatever you want to call them. That's about $160 for 4 of them. The other training equipment, cones, ladders, jump ropes, about $100 to $300. And then a timer, $70. Mitts, between $30 to $50. The body shield, $85. And then obviously the biggest investment is the ring itself, and that's usually about $10,000 to $12,000. And then uniforms, which is the tank top and shorts, $25 to $50. So the total initial investment for a school is between $12,000 and $14,000. So what is cheaper for the school? Like, what are we talking about? So there's that. Now let's look at the student costs. Again, we're going to start with football. Cleats, between $30 to $150. Mouth guard and cup, $20 to $50. Their gloves, $30 to $50. Total investment for a student is between $80 to $250. Kind of depends on brand at the end of the day. Boxing boots, between $100 and $150. Now gloves and wraps, that's $60 to $150. Again, varying brand, size, type. There's a lot of variables, but that's a good average. Mouth guard, the one I put on there is $30. Headgear and groin guard, $70 to $120. So the total investment for a student would be between $260 to $450. It's a lot more for a student to invest, but a lot less for a school to invest into boxing. And it's vice versa for football. A lot more for the school, but a lot less for the student. But the school can kind of dividend student fees according to each sport. That really is, I think, a school or district to district thing. It's not an exact spending structure for the school and student. Just my personal opinion on who should cover what. At the end of the day, boxing isn't about fighting. It's about control. Control of your mind, your body, your emotion. If schools actually taught that, discipline, respect, confidence, imagine the difference it can make. Fewer fights, fewer bullied, and a lot more kids who actually believe in themselves. So yeah, maybe it's time schools stop being afraid of boxing and start using it to build stronger students. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this. I had a lot of fun making this video. If you agreed with anything I said, go ahead, leave a like. And if you like the content I'm making, please click that subscribe button as well. And if you have any more questions, or if you just want to start a conversation, hop in the comments below. I'll be sure to reply to everyone I see, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.